If there was one Jedi who could have prevented Anakin Skywalker's tragic fall to the dark side, it would likely have been Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon was not just any Jedi, he was a Maverick, a wise and perceptive master who understood the nuances of the Force and human nature far better than most of his peers in the Jedi Order. His unique perspective on the Force, combined with his deep empathy and understanding of Anakin's nature, suggests that he might have been the one to guide Anakin toward fulfilling his destiny as the Chosen One, without falling prey to the dark side. On belief in the living Force, Qui-Gon Jinn was deeply attuned to the living Force, a concept that emphasized living in the moment and following the will of the Force as it manifests in real time, rather than being overly concerned with prophecies or rigid adherence to the Jedi Code. This made him more open-minded and adaptable than other Jedi, who were often too focused on tradition and the future. Anakin Skywalker, a young boy with extraordinary potential, was discovered by Qui-Gon on Tatooine. Qui-Gon immediately recognized the boy's strong connection to the Force and believed Anakin to be the Chosen One, destined to bring balance to the Force. Unlike the Jedi Council, who viewed Anakin's emotions and attachments with suspicion, Qui-Gon saw these as natural parts of being human. His belief in the living Force meant that he would have been more likely to guide Anakin in managing his emotions rather than suppressing them, a critical difference that might have helped Anakin avoid the internal conflict that led to his downfall. 2. Empathy and understanding of Anakin. One of Qui-Gon's greatest strengths was his empathy and understanding of others, particularly those who did not fit into the conventional mold of the Jedi Order. He saw beyond Anakin's fear and anger, recognizing the boy's potential for greatness. Where others saw a dangerous and unpredictable future, Qui-Gon saw a young boy who needed guidance, mentorship, and above all, understanding. Anakin's fears and anxieties, especially his deep-seated fear of loss, were central to his eventual turn to the dark side. The Jedi Order, with its strict code of non-attachment, was ill-equipped to address these emotions. Qui-Gon, however, was not as rigid. He might have provided the compassionate mentorship Anakin needed, helping him to understand and channel his emotions constructively rather than letting them fester into fear and anger. By acknowledging Anakin's attachments and teaching him how to deal with them, Qui-Gon could have helped Anakin avoid the despair that Palpatine later exploited. 3. An unorthodox approach to the Jedi Code. Qui-Gon was well known for his unorthodox approach to the Jedi Code. He was willing to bend the rules when he felt it was necessary to follow the will of the Force. For instance, he chose to train Anakin despite the Council's reservations, believing that the boy's potential outweighed the risks. This willingness to challenge the status quo set Qui-Gon apart from other Jedi, who were often too bound by tradition to see beyond the immediate rules. If Qui-Gon had lived, he might have challenged the Jedi Council's rigid adherence to the code regarding attachment and emotion. He could have argued that Anakin, due to his unique circumstances and incredible power, needed a different approach. Instead of discouraging Anakin's relationships and emotions, Qui-Gon might have helped him navigate them in a healthy way. This could have prevented Anakin from feeling isolated and misunderstood, which were significant factors in his susceptibility to Palpatine's manipulation. 4. Connection to the living Force and the afterlife. Another aspect of Qui-Gon's uniqueness was his connection to the living Force, which eventually allowed him to discover the path to immortality, retaining consciousness after death. This ability, which he later taught to Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, indicates a profound understanding of the Force that went beyond the knowledge of other Jedi. Had Qui-Gon survived, he could have shared these deeper insights with Anakin, providing him with a more profound understanding of life, death, and the true nature of the Force. Qui-Gon's ability to transcend death also symbolizes his potential to provide ongoing guidance. Even if he had died, had Qui-Gon been able to communicate with Anakin from beyond, as he eventually did with Yoda and Obi-Wan, he might have continued to influence Anakin's choices. This could have offered Anakin a lifeline, a connection to the Jedi who truly understood him, which might have helped him resist the pull of the dark side. 5. Qui-Gon's potential. Influence on the Jedi Order. Beyond his potential direct impact on Anakin, Qui-Gon's survival might have led to broader changes within the Jedi Order itself. Qui-Gon was a figure who challenged the Order's orthodoxy and might have been a catalyst for change had he lived. His different perspective on the Force and the Jedi's role in the galaxy could have led to a re-evaluation of the Order's dogmatic practices, particularly regarding attachment and emotion. If Qui-Gon had influenced the Jedi Council to adopt a more flexible approach, it might have created an environment where Anakin could thrive without feeling the need to hide his fears and desires. A more understanding and adaptive Jedi Order might have been able to support Anakin better, preventing the isolation and frustration that contributed to his fall. Conclusion. In many ways, Quon Jinn represented the best hope for Anakin Skywalker to fulfill his destiny without succumbing to the dark side. His unique perspective on the Force, combined with his empathy, understanding, and willingness to challenge the Jedi Order's rigid practices, made him the ideal mentor for someone as complex and powerful as Anakin. Unfortunately, Qui-Gon's untimely death left Anakin without the guidance he desperately needed, leaving him vulnerable to the manipulations of Emperor Palpatine. Had Qui-Gon survived, the galaxy's history might have unfolded very differently, with Anakin Skywalker remaining in the light as the Jedi he was always meant to be.